Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I'm a divorce valuation expert in St. Louis, Missouri. I have the pleasure of discussing business valuations from a divorce attorney's perspective with my guest, Miles Mason, who is a divorce lawyer in Memphis, Tennessee, also servicing Nashville and I'm sure other parts of Tennessee. But let's get right into it. What do you see as the reason for a business valuation in a divorce purpose, or why you would even need something like this? Like, how do you see it from an attorney's eyes?
Well, let's start off with the mechanics, right? What is a divorce? A divorce, we're going to divide property, okay? We're going to deal with custody, child support, alimony, attorney's fees. Okay, we're dividing the parties in a legal relationship and making them single. Now, as far as dividing marital property, as part of that process, there's four things we have to do. We got to identify what's marital. We have to classify the assets as either marital or separate. And in community property states, it's community property, non-community property. Same function in most situations, okay? We had to value the asset to divide it, all right? Now, there are a few exceptions to that, but when we're talking about a business, yeah, one party's going to have to buy out the other if it's marital property. And then what percentage of the property goes to each party? What part of the marital estate goes each way? And it's not always 50-50. Even if the states say it's equal, it's not. So once we have a business ownership interest, whether it be intellectual property, law firm, medical practice, widget manufacturer, it doesn't matter. There's a value, okay? Some are more than others. And if you're talking about a major enterprise, it could be, the ownership interest could be north of $100 million. If it's a small business, it may have no value because nobody would want to buy it. So as part of the divorce itself, it's a mechanical process that must be taken unless the divorce lawyer wants to be sued for malpractice.
Well, and I think that that's an interesting piece of it, because if you have some stock, if you own some stock and you get a statement and the statement says as of this date, it's worth $20,000, then that's pretty easy. Somebody can just look at that statement and they can say, okay, it's worth $20,000. Now the business or even other sort of tangible assets, you usually have to get an expert involved. And a lot of times, this is what I've told other clients too, is that I'm coming in to help the attorney understand the value of a business so that they can recommend some sort of settlement or to go to trial to their client. But without that piece of information, and one person says it's worth $1 million, one person says it's worth 500,000, the attorney just can't say, well, we'll go with 750. Sounds good. Because that gets you into like a kind of a malpractice type of situation, right?
Right, because let's take your example of 750. It is not unusual for a business owner to have non-operating assets. Now, it's a technical term for the non-business valuation folks out there. There's assets owned by the business that are not really business assets, especially in smaller, closely held businesses. So it could be a timeshare, could be a condo down at the beach, could be anything. And so you've got to be careful and do the due diligence and do what your business valuation expert or forensic accountant says to do if you want a fair, just, and reasonable result.